The sweat on my skin hadn't dried when she pressed her lips to my shoulder. "You're trembling," she whispered. "No, I'm not," I murmured, even though I was. Trembling not from the cool air drifting in through the half-open window, but from the aftershock of what we'd just done. Amelia didn't say anything more. She just let her fingers trail down my spine. Slow and deliberate, her touch still hot despite everything. My thighs were sore, my breath shallow. The sheets tangled beneath us were soaked in the scent of her. Citrus and something darker. Like smoke or secrets. I rolled onto my side facing her. Her copper hair fanned across my pillow. Her lips were red, wet, parted just enough to make me want to taste her again. "I can't believe my voice trailed off. "Slept with a woman?" she teased, her smile lazy. "Or me specifically?" I swallowed. "Both." Her eyes didn't blink. "It doesn't scare you?" "It should." The way she looked at me, like she could read every flicker of shame, every spark of want. I hated it. And I craved it. Amelia made me feel like something raw and feral had been sleeping inside me. And she was the one who knew how to wake it. I met her in yoga class 2 months ago. I had just quit my last contract gig. A thriller I was ghostwriting for a man too dull to be dangerous. I needed to stretch, to breathe, to stop grinding my teeth every time I looked at a blank page. Amelia had walked in late. Matt rolled under her arm, in a black sports bra that barely contained her. She didn't look at anyone else. She looked straight at me. "You're new," she said afterward, outside the studio, when the sweat on our bodies was still fresh and honest. "So are you." We got smoothies, then wine the next week, then tequila. Then, eventually, I stopped pretending she was just a friend. Now here she was, naked in my bed. In the bed I shared with Henry. My stomach twisted. "He's gonna be home in an hour." Amelia glanced at the clock like she already knew. "Then we have 45 minutes. "I shouldn't." She kissed me again. Not soft, not sweet, desperate. Her hand slid between my thighs and I gasped, arching toward her without meaning to. "Don't overthink it," she whispered against my mouth. But I always did. Even as my hands clutched her hips. Even as I flipped her onto her back and let my tongue trace down the hollow of her neck. I was thinking about how good it felt to forget everything. About how dangerous it was that I couldn't. Her moan wasn't theatrical. Amelia didn't fake things. She let herself unravel when I pushed into her with fingers that knew her now, that had memorized her shape, her rhythm, the way her body begged for more and more until she broke apart like sea foam. When she came, it was with my name on her lips. Not Henry's. I collapsed beside her, heart hammering. Her hand reached for mine. "Does he know?" she asked, eyes on the ceiling. I flinched. "Of course not. Do you feel guilty?" I didn't answer. We lay there in silence for a while. Outside, the soft hum of traffic filtered in. I thought of Henry's car pulling into the driveway. His steady hands. The quiet discipline in his smile. He was a man who saved lives by day, then cooked dinner for me at night like it was just as sacred. He didn't deserve this. And yet, my body betrayed me. Again and again. "You want to know a secret?" Amelia said suddenly, voice low. I turned my head toward her, my heart catching. "What kind of secret?" She sat up slowly, pulling the sheet with her, the edge barely covering her breasts. Her skin glowed in the fading light. "I knew you were married the first time I saw you." I blinked. "How?" She smiled. "The ring mark. You took it off, but the indent was still there. Faint, but I noticed." I looked down at my left hand. I always took my ring off during yoga. I told myself it was for comfort, that it wasn't symbolic. But maybe it was. "You didn't care?" I asked. She shook her head. "I liked it better that way." A shiver crawled down my spine. "What do you mean?" Amelia leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. "Married women taste different." My breath caught in my throat. She laughed softly, then pulled away. "Relax. I'm just messing with you." But something in her voice lingered. Something a little too sharp. "I should shower," I said, swinging my legs over the bed. She watched me walk to the bathroom. Her eyes felt like hands on my bare back. Inside the shower, I turned the water as hot as I could stand it, scrubbing at the places she'd kissed, bitten, marked. But the heat didn't burn away the ache, the shame, the thrill. I leaned my head against the tile and tried to remember who I was before her. When I stepped out, she was gone. No note. No sound. Just the faint scent of her perfume clinging to my sheets, my skin. I dressed quickly, brushing my damp hair back, trying to compose myself. When Henry walked in half an hour later, I was sitting on the couch, laptop open, pretending to write. He kissed me on the forehead like always. "Dinner or takeout?" he asked, loosening his tie. "Takeout." "Tie?" "Perfect." He walked into the kitchen, opening the fridge like nothing had changed. Like I hadn't just cheated on him in the bed we shared. With a woman he didn't even know. Or so I thought. As I watched him move calm and control, humming some song under his breath. Something twisted in my chest. Amelia had said she liked me better married. But it wasn't just that. It was the way she'd looked at me. Like she already knew something I didn't. Like I was part of a game I didn't understand. And somewhere, deep in the pit of my stomach, a quiet, unshakable fear began to bloom. The next time I saw Amelia, it was like nothing had happened. She was back in class. Her hair tied up in a high bun. Her leggings skin-tight and black. Her top riding just enough to show a sliver of toned stomach. She rolled her mat out next to mine like it was routine. Like we hadn't just broken every rule in my life a few days ago. "Hey, stranger," she said softly, stretching her arms overhead. "Sleep okay?" I glanced sideways, my breath caught somewhere between my lungs and throat. "You left," I murmured. "I always do." The instructor's voice called us into position before I could respond. But my head wasn't on the mat. Not really. Not when she was breathing beside me. Her leg brushing mine in Warrior 2 like it was accidental. I knew it wasn't. My body still remembered her. And it was betraying me all over again. After class, I didn't say anything. I rolled up my mat in silence, but she followed me out to the parking lot. "Ivy," she said, grabbing my wrist. "You're not gonna ghost me, are you?" I looked down at where her hand held mine. Her grip was gentle, but there was something possessive in it. Something claiming. "I'm married," I said quietly. Her smile curved wicked. "You were married last time, too." I yanked my arm back. This was a mistake. She stepped in close. "Was it?" "Because the way your mouth felt on mine. The way you begged me not to stop." "I don't think it was." "Stop." I could feel the heat climbing up my neck. "Come to my place tonight." "I can't." "You will." Her voice dropped lower. "Because you want to. And God help me, I did." I didn't go that night. I stayed home with Henry. We ate takeout, watched some bland drama on Netflix, and he massaged my shoulders like always. He didn't ask about yoga. He never did. At one point, I caught him staring at me a little too long. "What?" I asked. He blinked, smiled. "Nothing. You just seem lighter lately." "Lighter?" He nodded. "Happier." I forced a laugh and kissed him to shut him up. He deepened the kiss, fingers tangling in my hair. When we moved to the bedroom, he was slower than usual, gentler. His hands knew me, every inch of me. But that night, it didn't feel the same. I kept seeing her. Amelia's mouth. Amelia's body. Amelia's laugh in my ear. I moaned when Henry touched me the right way. But it wasn't his name in my head. I let him believe the sound was for him. Let him believe I came for him. After, he fell asleep quickly, his arms slung across my waist. I stared at the ceiling for what felt like hours. I texted her at 2:12 a.m. "Me, I can't stop thinking about you. Amelia, took you long enough." The next afternoon, I lied to Henry. Told him I had a book club meeting. He kissed my cheek like the perfect husband and said, "Have fun." I did. Too much. Amelia's apartment was exactly what I expected. Dark wood floors, white curtains, minimalist furniture. But with bursts of strange color. A red scarf tossed over a lamp. A painting of a deer with human hands. Velvet cushions that didn't match anything. She opened the door barefoot, wearing a black silk robe. "You came," she said, like she knew I would. "I shouldn't have. But you did." She took my hand and pulled me in.
No pretense. No hesitaste.
I didn't resist. Her lips were on mine before the door clicked shut. Her robe fell open, and I tasted every inch of her. The way I hadn't let myself last time. She let me push her against the kitchen counter. Her legs wrapped around me, her hands gripping my hair. I didn't recognize the sounds coming from my throat. They were low, primal. "I want you to ruin me." I gasped against her skin. Her laugh was a purr. Oh baby. That's the plan. We didn't make it to the bed until the third round. By then I was shaking, sore, half-dressed and dizzy. She dragged her nails down my back as I collapsed beside her. I should go, I said. You won't. And she was right again. I stayed until almost midnight. She walked me to the door, kissed me hard, then whispered, "Be careful." I frowned. Of what? Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Everything. I barely slept. When I got home, Henry was reading in bed. He looked up when I walked in. His face calm. Was it good? What? Book club? Oh, yeah, it was. He nodded and turned a page. But there was something in his eyes. Something unreadable. The next morning, I got a message from an unknown number. You think you're in control. You're not. My stomach dropped. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. I almost deleted it, thinking maybe it was spam. Maybe someone got my number from a mailing list. But another text came seconds later. She's not who you think she is. And neither is he. I felt cold. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but the words wouldn't come. I showed Amelia the messages that night. She looked at them, then laughed. Some bored asshole with too much time. Are you sure? She shrugged. I've had stalkers before. It's probably nothing. I wanted to believe her. But something in her tone, too nonchalant, too smooth, unnerved me. You're not scared? I asked. She leaned in close. Darling, I am the thing people are scared of. She kissed me then. Hard. And I let her. But later, when I lay in her bed, staring up at that strange deer painting, the words from the message repeated in my mind. She's not who you think she is. Neither was I. I started seeing things. Small, inconsequential things at first. My lipstick out of place in the bathroom drawer. A light left on when I was sure I'd turned it off. One morning, I found a faint red mark on my neck that didn't belong to Henry, and couldn't have been from Amelia. She hadn't touched me in 2 days. Then came the dreams. I'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart racing. In one dream, Amelia stood at the foot of my bed, her eyes black like ink, whispering my name over and over. In another, Henry held my wrists down while Amelia kissed me, her mouth smeared in blood. I tried to write, but the words wouldn't come. My editor kept texting. I told her I had the flu. At yoga, Amelia barely acknowledged me. She'd walked in late, brushed past me, and placed her mat on the far end of the room. She wore a slate gray set that made her look colder than I remembered. Her eyes flicked to mine once, no smile, no softness. I stayed behind after class. Why are you avoiding me? I asked when we were alone in the hallway. I'm not, she said, reaching for her water bottle. I just needed space. From me. You're getting too attached. I blinked. Stunned. You said you wanted me. I do, she said, stepping in closer. But I also want you off balance. It's more fun that way.
Ister hier.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? She tilted her head. You don't know, do you? My throat dried. Know what? Her hand grazed my cheek, almost tender. Never mind, Ivy. You'll find out soon enough. She walked away, hips swaying, and left me standing there, cold and confused. That night, I went through Henry's office while he was showering. I don't know what I was looking for. Answers, maybe. A name. A hint. Something to tell me what the hell was going on with Amelia, and why she felt like a mirror I couldn't stop staring into. I found a locked drawer. He never locked things. I rifled through his desk. Found a tiny silver key taped under the bottom drawer. When I opened it, there was a file inside, thick and yellowed. Medical records. Photos. Notes. The name on the folder. Evelyn Shaw. I froze. Shaw. Henry's ex-wife. She died in a car crash 5 years ago. Or so he told me. I flipped open the folder. The first photo showed a woman, black hair, high cheekbones. The same eyes I'd memorized between my thighs. It was Amelia. No Evelyn. The blood drained from my face. I read the report. Severe accident. Non-fatal. Extensive reconstructive surgery. Facial trauma. Memory impairment. Then a handwritten note. Monitored at Ridge Hill under new identity. Psychological recovery inconclusive. Obsession with Henry persists. I didn't hear the shower turn off. Didn't hear Henry come in. What are you doing? I turned, the file still in my hands. His face didn't change. He just stood there in his robe, drying his hair with a towel. She's alive, I said. He looked at the file. I know. My knees buckled. I sat in his chair, gripping the folder, like it was the only real thing in the room. You lied to me, I whispered. No, he said calmly. I protected you. Protected me? My voice cracked. You let me fall in love with her. You were already falling before I had the chance to stop it. I shook my head. Why would you do this? Henry walked over slowly, crouched in front of me, his eyes level with mine. She's not what you think, Ivy. Amelia Evelyn, she's unstable. She's dangerous. She didn't seem dangerous when you married her, I spat. He closed his eyes briefly. I was younger, naive. She was beautiful and brilliant and manipulative. She spiraled after we lost the baby. My breath caught. She couldn't handle the grief, he continued. She changed. She became obsessed with the idea that I didn't love her enough to grieve properly. She started testing me, playing games. And the crash. She drove off the bridge herself. They found her clinging to the rocks. When she survived, she vanished, changed her name, started sending me letters, vile, cryptic things. I stared at him. So why the hell is she in my life now? Henry stood up and turned away, running a hand through his wet hair. Because I let her in. The room spun. You what? I needed to know if she was still a threat, he said quietly. I knew she'd find her way back eventually. I figured if I could monitor her, if I let her near someone close to me, maybe I could study her, understand her patterns. You used me as bait, I said, voice barely audible. He turned around. I didn't expect her to seduce you. You watched me fall apart, I whispered. You watched me unravel and said nothing. I watched you survive her, he said. Better than I did. I stood up, the folder falling to the floor. You're both sick. Ivy. No, my eyes burned. You and her. You deserve each other. I ran. I drove straight to Amelia's apartment, adrenaline in my blood. I pounded on her door. She opened it slowly, wearing a silk kimono the color of spilled wine. You found out, she said softly. You knew, I accused. Of course I knew. You planned this. Not entirely. Henry set the board. I just played the better game. I pushed past her into the apartment. Why me? She followed, graceful and unbothered. Because you're beautiful. Because you're weak. Because he loved you. No, isnapat. Because you hate him. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. That too. I turned to leave, but she caught my wrist, same grip as before. But this time I didn't feel claimed. I felt trapped. I'm not finished with you, she whispered. I yanked away. Yes, you are. I slammed the door behind me and ran down the stairs 2 at a time, her voice echoing down the hallway. You'll come back, Ivy. And the terrifying thing was, I wasn't sure she was wrong. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I felt Amelia's breath on my neck, her voice in my ear. You'll come back. I took a sleeping pill around 3, chased it with whiskey, and lay on the couch, curled in a fetal position like a child trying to hide from monsters in the dark. But the monsters weren't under the bed. They were in my mind. By morning, my phone had 7 missed calls from Henry, 1 voicemail I refused to listen to, and a single text from Amelia. You left your scarf here. Kept it. Smells like you. Still wet. I threw the phone across the room. But that night, God help me, I went back. Not because I forgave her. Not because I understood anything. I went back because I couldn't breathe in my own skin anymore. My body felt like it belonged to her. I hated it. I needed to reclaim it. Or maybe I just wanted her to take it again. She opened the door without a word and stepped aside. I walked in, trembling. Say what you came to say, she murmured. I didn't. I kissed her. Fierce, angry, hungry. My mouth found hers with the fury of betrayal and desire. Her back hit the wall with a thud as I devoured her lips, her tongue, her skin. Clothes disappeared in shreds, mine then hers. She dragged me into the bedroom by my wrist, her nails biting into my flesh, leaving crescent moons like a mark of ownership. I hated her. I needed her. She threw me onto the bed and crawled over me, her eyes glittering like broken glass. You're sick, I panted. Her smile was fire. Then cure me. I pulled her down to me, nails digging into her back, and she gasped. An exquisite, breathy sound that hit me straight between the legs. Her mouth moved over my body with surgical precision. No hesitation. She knew every inch, every weakness, every place to linger. She slid her hand between my thighs and didn't ask permission. I let her. I came like a scream buried beneath a kiss. Afterward, we lay tangled in damp sheets, my breath slowing as she lit a cigarette and stared at the ceiling. Do you feel better? She asked. I turned my head. Do you? She exhaled smoke like a sigh. You're not the first woman I've broken. Good to know. But you're the first I wanted to keep. That struck something inside me. A soft part one thought had burned out long ago. I sat up, pulling the sheet around me. What is this to you, Amelia? Revenge? Redemption? Neither, she said, reaching to tuck my hair behind my ear. It's just clarity. I pulled away from her touch. Henry used you, I said. He threw you to the wolves. And now you're doing the same to me. She smiled again, slow and poisonous.
No, Ivy.
I'm the wolf. I dressed without speaking. My body ached in places that made me feel guilty for enjoying her. Guilt layered over lust until I couldn't tell which was heavier. Don't come back, I said as I stood by the door. I won't need to, she replied. You'll bring me with you. I'm in your blood now. The ride home was a blur of neon lights and static in my ears. I couldn't feel the steering wheel. My hands were numb. I was numb. Henry was waiting when I walked in. He looked like hell. Eyes bloodshot. Tie loosened. Bottle of whiskey half finished on the coffee table. You went to her, he said, voice hollow. I didn't deny it. You knew she was alive, I said. You knew and let me walk right into her arms. He nodded, swallowing hard. Because I had to know. I needed to see if she still had that power. If she could still destroy someone. You watched her unravel me. I prayed she wouldn't. I sat down across from him, cold and shaking. She told me you lost a baby. He stiffened. She said that's when everything changed. His jaw tightened. She got pregnant on purpose. Without telling me. I didn't want kids, not then. She thought having one would fix us. But she miscarried. And blamed me. She said you didn't grieve. I did. Quietly. She wanted a show. He leaned forward, eyes dark. She started writing in a journal. Pages of madness. Said she could still feel the baby. Said it spoke to her at night. I felt ice settle in my spine. She told me she'd burn the hospital down. She tried to strangle my cat. One night, she cut her own stomach open with a scalpel and said she was trying to let the baby out. Oh my God. That's when I institutionalized her. He poured another drink. The crash happened during her transfer to a more secure facility. She faked catatonia, then escaped. No ID. They thought she was dead. I didn't correct them. I stared at him. So this was all a test? To see if she could still poison someone. She passed, he said bitterly. I'm not poisoned, I said. He looked at me, really looked. Aren't you? I felt something crack inside. My hands curled into fists. I let her in because I wanted to believe someone could see me again. I whispered. You haven't touched me in months. You live in your head, Henry. With your scalpel and your calculations and your cold fucking silence. He flinched. I was lonely, I said. She made me feel alive. And now? Now, I wasn't sure. I stood and walked to the window, looking down at the city pulsing below like a heart with no rhythm. She's not done, I said softly. No, Henry agreed. She never is. I turned. What happens now? He looked at me, his face unreadable. That depends on which one of us you hate more. For the first time in weeks, I turned off my phone. I didn't want calls. Not from Henry. Not from Amelia. Not from the world. I stayed in bed for 2 days, curtains drawn, wrapped in sheets that still smelled faintly of both of them. I showered but didn't wash them. It was pathetic, I knew. But I didn't care. I tried to write. Opened my laptop. Typed 3 words. I miss myself. Then deleted them. When I finally emerged, I went to the only place that still felt real, the yoga studio. The light was soft, the room quiet. I rolled out my mat, closed my eyes, tried to breathe. Then I heard her. You came back. I turned my head. Amelia stood barefoot at the far end of the room, dressed in black, her hair tied high, face bare. She looked more human somehow. Less witch, more wounded animal. I didn't come for you, I said. I know. But you did. She stepped closer. I didn't move. You said I was in your blood, I said. She nodded. You are in mine too. Why me? I asked. She knelt beside my mat. Because you looked like I used to. Before Henry. I searched her eyes. Did you ever love him? She smiled, sad and sharp. I still do. In the way a pyromaniac loves fire. I laughed because it hurt. Then before I could stop myself, I reached out and touched her cheek. She leaned into it like it was a mercy. Come with me, she whispered. I should have said no. I should have walked away. But I didn't. We went back to her apartment again. And this time there was no rush. No fire.
No chaos.
She undressed me like she was unwrapping a memory. Her mouth moved over me like a prayer. Slow. Careful. Worshipful. She made love to me like we had all the time in the world. And for a few stolen hours I believed her. Afterward I lay on her chest, listening to her heartbeat. I want to know the truth, I said. Amelia ran her fingers through my hair. Which one? All of it. She was quiet for a long time. Then she began. I didn't fake the miscarriage, she said. That part's true. What Henry didn't tell you is that the baby wasn't his. I pulled back, stunned. Whose was it? She smiled faintly. A stranger. A mistake. A moment of desperation. Why? Because Henry wanted a machine, not a wife. He monitored me like a lab rat. Even our sex was clinical. I needed to feel wanted again. Alive. You cheated on him. Yes. And then? He found out. But he didn't get angry. He got fascinated. He wanted to know why. He said, let's see what it does to you. Like I was a subject. An experiment. She looked at me, eyes shimmering. That's when the real madness started. Not from grief. From him. He twisted everything. He made me doubt my reality. Told me I dreamed things. Told the doctors I was delusional. I tried to breathe. So the hospital. He put me there. He made sure I was sedated. Watched me fall apart through one-way glass. Like a show. She paused. When I escaped, I wasn't running. I was reborn. And when I saw your wedding photo online, God, Ivy, you look so happy. Just like I once did. Before. I shook my head, voice trembling. So this whole thing seducing me, invading my life, it was revenge. At first. And now. She leaned in. Kissed me softly. Now I don't know. I pulled away, heart pounding. What does Henry know? Everything. My stomach dropped. He knew we were together? She nodded. He wanted it. Told me to push you. Told me to see how far you'd go. My mouth went dry. Why? Because he doesn't believe in love. Only thresholds. I stood up, shaking. So I was his experiment too. She looked up at me. Yes. I dressed in silence. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. I need to go. Ivy. Don't. I left her there, naked in bed, looking suddenly small. Broken. Human. The city outside was blinding. I walked for hours. Didn't even know where I was going until I stood in front of Henry's office. I went inside. He looked up, surprised but not shocked. Ivy. I sat across from him. I know everything, I said. He didn't flinch. She told me. He nodded slowly. Then you know why I did it? No, I said. I don't. I needed to understand what breaks people. What makes them choose betrayal over comfort. Chaos over safety. I stared at him. And me. You were perfect, he said. Beautiful. Intelligent. Craving meaning. I could hardly breathe. You never loved me. I don't think I know how. I stood. You know what the worst part is? He tilted his head. I still want to kiss you. He smiled. That's the part one was waiting for. I walked out without another word. I didn't go home. I went back to Amelia's apartment. But it was empty. No furniture. No scent. No photographs. Just an echo of something wild and tragic. On the kitchen table was a single envelope with my name in red ink. Inside, a photo of us. Me asleep in her lap. Her smiling down at me. On the back, written in delicate cursive. He experimented on me. I experimented on him. But you were the only one I wanted to keep. It's been 3 weeks. Henry's license is under review. I told the board everything. I haven't seen him since. Amelia? She's gone. Disappeared. No forwarding address. No digital footprint. Like a ghost. But sometimes at night, when I close my eyes, I feel her lips on my neck. Her voice in my ear. You'll bring me with you. I'm in your blood now. And maybe she is. Maybe this is who I've become. A ruin of a woman. Beautiful. Haunted. And quietly dangerously awake.